Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Please allow us a few more minutes while everyone joins in, and then we will quickly get started. Just a reminder that today's session is recorded. We will be taking questions at the end of the session, so you can use the Q&A section to post in your questions. I think we'll just wait another 2 to 3 minutes before we get going. Hi, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone who's joining in. Just a quick note, we're still waiting for folks to join in, so please allow us another minute or so before we get going. Okay, I think we can get started. So thank you everyone for joining in. We have Selena today here with us as our guest speaker. She is representing University of New Haven, and we're really excited to have her. So thank you, Selena, for being here. Quick few hygiene points. The duration of today's session is about 45 minutes, where first 30 minutes, Selena will be taking us through some of the important pointers, and post that, you can pose your questions to us. Please use the Q&A box at the bottom to put in your questions to us. And just a reminder that this session is recorded, and post the webinar, we will be sending you out the recording of this entire session. With that, Selena, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you, Shrishti. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. As I'm told, I know some of you guys are very spread out around the world today. So thank you very much for joining us. Some of you I may have interacted with before, others maybe not, but just a quick about me. Obviously, my name is Selena O'Toole. I work at the University of New Haven in the capacity of quite a few different areas, but for the purpose of this, I'm overseeing our admissions for our international students, both undergrad and grad. I've been doing recruitment for about 10 years and in the University of New Haven the whole time, so I do have quite a bit of experience there. I also have both my bachelor's and my master's from the University of New Haven, so I've experienced it both from an international student perspective as well as an employee now, so I can attest to both sides and the journey that our students are going to face as they come here. But without further ado, we have about maybe 17 slides that we're going to go through. As Shrisi said, you're more than welcome to put any questions you want in the chat, in the Q&A, and we will get to them at the very end. But thank you so much, and I hope you get as much information as you possibly can out of our first session today. So a little bit just about the university. We did just get a new president just over 3 years ago, actually last week. He has brought a whole new lease of life to the University of New Haven. Not that our previous president was not amazing as well. He's just been there for 20 years. So bringing in new president, new leadership does change the dynamic of the campus and the values of the university. As you can see here on the screen, we do center our whole campus around our 3 core values, which is we are completely student-centered. If you do come to our campus, if you've ever been or if you've spoken to students that have been on our campus, they will tell you that we do drive everything around the student initiatives and what they want, what their voices bring to us. And we do hold a lot of sessions to making sure that they are heard, both international and domestic, across the board, because we do have a very high population of international students here on campus. The second one is engaged and inclusive community. We are in a small town in West Haven, right on the shore in Connecticut. So we do make sure all of our community values, all of those community values are inherited as well by our campus to make sure that we do go out to the community. Our students work very closely with the community just to foster exactly what they are trying to do on a day-to-day basis. And then our impactful education. Obviously, we are an education institution, so we do want to make sure that we do have a center as our last core value around that. Where are you? I hope some of you know where we are. I hope all of you actually know where we are, but if you don't, we are about 90 minutes from New York City and about 2 hours from Boston. Whether it's a drive, rail, you can go both ways in there. It is easier to take the train in. Our students take the train right from our campus, which is probably the train station is about 5 minutes from our campus. So they can go both ways directly from it. We do have transportation that brings them to those train stations on a daily basis every 30 minutes. Those buses go to the train stations and go to the bus stations, so our students can have access to all transportation at all times. We do get the 4 seasons here, so it is great. Some of our students that do arrive in January are a little bit weather shocked. It has been a very cold winter this year, so all of our international students that did join us this January definitely got a very quick view of how cold it does get here in Connecticut. But then you have spring right after it's summer and then into fall, which, as you can see from the picture here, it changes the foliage, and it is one of the most beautiful things that some of our international students will see while they are here in the States. These are just a few of our accreditations. Every program that we have on campus that has the ability to have its individual accreditation, they do have it as well, but these are just our overarching university accreditations and the ABA and AACSB accreditation. As you can see, we are ranked yearly in US News, Princeton Review, and the best colleges of distinction. All of our academic programs are held to the standard by NESHE, which is the New England Commission of Higher Education. So every single program that we do stand up here on campus is held to that quality and review of assessment on a yearly basis. So you can be sure that when the students do come here, they are getting an education and not just a degree, a piece of paper at the end of it. Okay, so we do have 5 colleges here on campus. We have our Taylor College of Engineering, our Pompey College of Business, our College of Arts and Sciences, the Henry C. Lee College of Criminal Justice and Forensic Science, which is really what the university became famous for, and our School of Health Sciences. On campus, we have over 170 programs altogether between undergraduate and graduate. On the undergraduate side, we have about 129 programs, and on the graduate side, we have a little bit over 50 right now. So we are definitely growing on the graduate side on a yearly basis as we need to. And on undergraduate, we do normally stay consistent with the number of programs we have because there's no reason to just add programs for the sake of it. We do alter our programs based off of the industry it's in. And for our international students, the programs that our students come here for mainly are our most popular programs, our engineering programs, obviously, College of Business that have STEM designations, and our health sciences programs. Arts and Sciences and the Lee College, we do have students sporadically throughout those colleges, but those programs are not necessarily as popular as the other 3 colleges for our international students based off of our history here in a way. Obviously, computer science, our AI programs, our MBA program, business analytics programs, our data science programs, our School of Health Science programs. When it comes to our health sciences, nutrition, they're probably our 2 biggest programs for School of Health Sciences for undergrad, and then for the graduate programs, it will be our public health programs as well as our healthcare administration programs. The Lee College, as you may know, is, as I said earlier, what we're famous for. We do have Dr. Henry Lee here that works for us. So he does bring a very huge following with him to the university, but also our graduates from our Henry C. Lee College are normally walk into federal jobs pretty quickly, and they're very sought after students once they finish their either bachelor's degree or master's degree. So it really does put the University of New Haven on the map. And in a lot of these programs, we are ranked nationally. So in our College of Business, our sport management program is ranked 10th in the world, 7th in the country. Our MBA programs and all of our college business programs, they are accredited or they are governed by the ASB accreditation. So we do have that side of it. And all of our health sciences programs, as long as there is an accreditation for that program, we either are in process of getting it or we have already received that accreditation. So again, I don't want to harp on the accreditation side of it, but it does hold the university to standards higher than other colleges that do not go and get their programs accredited in their fields. Okay, so what we mostly get questions on is our timeline. So here's just a quick brief view of the timeline of how our university runs when it comes to the workflow of students. As you can see, anything left of the rectangle box is basically the application process up to accept. So once the student submits their online application, our application takes on average between 30 and 45 minutes max, as long as you have all your application or all your documents ready. If you're applying for undergrad, you can apply on the Common App if you want to. That does take a little bit longer. There are a lot more fields on that. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do to control that side of it, but that way you can submit it to different multiple colleges at the same time. On the graduate side, we do only accept from our own application on our website. So it does, as I said, take about 45 minutes as long as you have all of your documents. All documents are submitted directly through the application portal. We do not accept documents in email, and that's honestly for ease and speed of application review. It's so much easier to have the students submit them through the application. Submit all the required documents depending on where you are in the world. You'll be required to submit your English test score transcripts, letters of recommendation, statement of purpose, and the application guides you through every step of that and what documents you are to submit along the way. Then after that, you go through admissions process. Whether you're an undergraduate or graduate student, you will go through it very seamlessly. It goes directly to the committee review. And once you get your decision, fingers crossed it'll be a positive decision. We get that letter out to the student that there's an update on their application and they log in and they see it. There is no separate application process for our students for a scholarship. Once they are admitted to the university, every student is reviewed for scholarship. So you do not need to send in another application. You can tell your students that there is no reason for them to send in another application or to let us know they want to be reviewed for scholarship. We will automatically do that, no problem, for every student, regardless of their application status. And then after that, for the international students, they got to submit their documents for their I-20. We verify the documents. We do verify the documents relatively closely when it comes to the financial documents. We will reserve the right to reach out to institutions or the financial institution just to verify it to make sure that we are on the same page with the student. And then after that, we will issue the I-20, upload it to the students portal, and the students can download it themselves. So we do not send anything via email. Everything is contained for the student in one area within their accepted student portal for ease, and they can go back and forth through that portal as much as they possibly want. As I mentioned, everybody's reviewed for scholarships. So here's just a quick overview of the scholarships that students can get from the undergraduate level. Again, once the student is accepted to the university, we do this process automatically. So the merit scholarship goes between 10 and 30%. There is a very high possibility that every student that does get accepted to the university will get some sort of a merit scholarship. It does depend on their academic background and their whole application as it is submitted with all their documents, test scores, SAT scores if they have them, transcripts, their essays, their letter of recommendation. So we do look at the app holistically in order to give that merit scholarship. If a student is applying to the Pompey College of Business, they are eligible for an additional 1 to 5,000. Again, that is evaluated based off a rubric and done automatically as well within a couple of days of the student being accepted to the university. If a student is being recruited for athletics, we do get this student a lot from international students, or this question, sorry, a lot from international students. I want an athletic scholarship. Yes, they are able, all international students are eligible for athletic scholarships, but you have to be recruited by the coach. They are all owned by the coach, and we do not have any say in that whatsoever. So if a student is interested and does have the ability to be recruited by our varsity athletics section of the university, then they do have to contact the coach and go from there on out. We do not award the athletic scholarships. And then if you were in the arts and sciences, there are portfolio scholarships that once you upload your portfolio to the application, that will be reviewed as well for a scholarship in addition to the merit scholarship at the very top. So there are a few different ways for students to get different types of scholarships on campus, as you can see, but it is all done for them automatically. There is no question, there's no indication to say I want to be reviewed. We do that automatically for them. And then on the graduate side, we do it a little bit differently. We do it in percentages versus dollar amounts. So again, this process is pretty simple. As long as you are accepted to the university, you will be reviewed for a scholarship. On the graduate side, I can say it is not guaranteed that you will get one on the graduate side. On the undergraduate side, you have a little bit more, that you will get some dollar amount. On the graduate side, that is not the case. They are a lot more competitive. Obviously, we do try and get everybody as much as we possibly can, but sometimes it just is not feasible for us to get that student scholarship. But it is 10 to 20 or 10 to 50% off for the Dean Scholarship. And again, that's done within 3 to 5 days of acceptance to the university. And we do try and get it out sooner than that if we possibly can. But it is depending on high volume times, it does take a little bit longer. So we just tell the student that they will get it, keep an eye on their scholarship or keep an eye on their portal, and that's where we will put the information in if they have been awarded a scholarship. For the Provost Assistantship, this is a very competitive award. The Provost Assistantship, we only have about 134 positions on campus. It goes across all 5 colleges, and all 5 colleges have a different quantity of positions per their college, depending on how many programs they have in their college. So engineering has the most because they do have the most graduate programs. Then you would have arts and sciences, School of Health Sciences, College of Business, and the Lee College. Those areas are those awards, I'm sorry. Those awards, the way they work is basically once you're accepted to the university, you are nominated for this award. And the nomination does not guarantee that you will get the award. The nomination basically puts you in the job application pool, basically is the easiest way to explain it. And once you go into that pool, you are then reviewed by all the faculty to possibly be interviewed for the position that they have open. If you are successful in getting an interview, you will be contacted by the faculty, and between you and the faculty member, you will set up a interview date, and hopefully you're successful, and then they will let us know, and they will then be notifying us that you are being successful and they want to award the position to the student. So again, it is competitive, but a lot of our international students do get it actually. There's a higher percentage of international students get that award than domestic students. It is only eligible, our students are only eligible for it if they're on ground full time and in some of our online programs. But as you guys recruit international students, they're not in online programs anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Some of our facilities. So over the last year, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this, I was an international student here on campus 20 years ago, and I can tell you that the campus is night and day in comparison to what it is now versus what it was when I got here 20 years ago, which will show you the growth that the university has made over that last 20 years. We went from 4 dorms when I was here to over 12 dorms at the moment. We have multiple new buildings. We have brand new state-of-the-art sports facilities, as you can see in the bottom right of the screen there. We have all of our engineering laboratories. We have our makerspace. We have our digital printing room. The makerspace lab is actually what the students can do. They can go use 3D printers. They can go use any of our equipment that we have on campus in that lab in a supervised capacity, which our students do love to do. We have on the left of the screen, you have the Bergami Center for Science and Technology and Innovation. That building was built specifically for students so they could have their own space. Basically, it is breakout rooms, it is student hangout areas, it's bigger rooms so that you can do presentations, you can practice for school run presentations, where you can study groups, all of that. You can reserve rooms in that building on a daily basis per hour at the minimum capacity, and only you have access to that room at that time. So it is amazing. It's individual study rooms as well if you need it. So there are so many facilities on campus for their students to utilize on a daily basis, so that a lot of people say, oh, international students don't live on campus. How are they integrated? Our international students, you see them more on campus than you do our domestic students, quite honestly. We have a ton of areas on campus so that they are, when they do come to campus, because most of them, as I said, commute, there is some place for them to be all day if they wanted to be there all day in between classes, or if they need to study before they want to go back to wherever it is that they are living. Our faculty. So one of the things you'll see if you talk to students here at the university is how much they love our faculty. As you can see on screen, we do have over 220 full-time faculty members in addition to the adjunct faculty. One of the main reasons I bring up the adjunct faculty is because they are currently working in their field. So you're getting real-time experience with that faculty member. But not only that, you're also making that connection with somebody that's in the industry that you are trying to break into. So one of the biggest things that international students mainly is because they're looking for a job after they graduate here for their OPT and then for the 2-year OPT extension is to build your network, make those connections. And the adjunct faculty are a very easy way for you to do that and to start your network as soon as you get here and into classes in your first week of school. The adjuncts do an amazing job of working with students, bringing real life experience to the classroom on a daily basis for the students to keep up to date in that industry, no matter what it is that they're studying. Like we have for Lee College, we have FBI, CIA. For our health and sciences, we have all practical practitioners. For the engineering, we have retired, actually, the head of Sikorsky works here. So we do have quite a few faculty members here that have lived the life that these students want to live so they can speak to them from the real world experience. And as I said, some of them are still living it. So we do keep our classrooms relatively small as we can. Obviously, some of the core classes, there's not much you can do about that. They're core courses, so they are just generic subjects for the undergraduate level. But other than that, we do keep the ratio of and try and keep it below a 20-to-1 ratio. But for the graduate students, the average class size is 14. For undergraduate students, the average class size right now is about 17. So we do try and keep as much as we possibly can for the program specific courses down so that you get that one-on-one faculty time if you need it. And as you can see, 75% of them hold the highest degree in their field, which is definitely something that we are proud of it with our faculty here on campus. Career development. So basically, our students have that question. I'm sure you guys hear it on a daily basis. How can I get a job? There are two different types of jobs that we talk about here with our students. It's the job, the on-campus employment when they do come here as a student, as well as the employment after they graduate. So first of all, I'll speak about the on-campus employment. Our Career Development Centre is in the centre of our campus. So it is built specifically around the students' input over the last few years. We've had the Career Development Centre for quite a period of time now, I think going on 11 years here at the university. But I can tell you it has changed dramatically over that 11 years as to what services they have, what they do for the students, how they support the students. And a lot of that change has come from student input on what the needs are, what the wants are of the students, and how we can better prepare our students for the future and for graduating and going off into the real world by themselves. It is nationally recognized. We were, for about 4 or 5 years in a row, we were ranked in the top 10 in the country. We are now in the top 20 in the country consistently. For a school our size, that is a huge achievement. I can tell you that. But a little bit about the employment. So as I mentioned, there's two different types. Employment on campus. Every student that comes to the University of New Haven is eligible to apply for an on-campus job. Is every student going to get an on-campus job? The reality is no. We just do not have that many on-campus jobs. I don't think there's any college in the country that does. But our students, we have a platform called Handshake. So all of our jobs on campus are uploaded to that platform, and every student can see those jobs as soon as they deposit and enroll in classes here at the university. So the sooner they do both of those things, the sooner they have access to the open jobs on campus and that they can apply for and hopefully be successful in getting when they come here. Every position on campus is required to upload the job to this platform so that it is fair game for everybody to apply and have the ability to be interviewed and hired. We do try as much as we possibly can to get as many jobs as we can. I hire about 45 international students specifically in my offices. I do try and keep it. I do hire a few domestic, but I definitely am biased when it comes to it. A domestic student can work anywhere off campus, an international student cannot. So I do try and do everything I can to keep as many international students employed in my area on a semester basis. But then when it comes to after the students graduate and they're looking for their first job on their OPT, the Career Development Centre definitely prepares them for that as well. As you can see, a quick short list of the services offered. This is not all the services offered. These are the main ones that do help prepare students for the real world in areas that they're not even thinking about exist yet. Even just the reality of LinkedIn and social media training. How should I use LinkedIn? How does that work? What should I put on it? How do I reach out to employers on it? We do a lot of career coaching when it comes to that side of it. Even as something very simple as salary negotiation. How do you ask that employer who's offering you a job, hey, I think, is there a possibility of me getting more? It's just those simple conversations that you know about, but you don't know how to approach them. We do mock interviews for the students. We do networking training to let them know how you go and build that network, continue to build that network. And even if you are unsuccessful in that job interview, do you keep that person as a part of your network moving forward? The answer is yes. So it's a lot of these areas where we teach students how to be better prepared to go out into the real world and not just into the interview world, but when you do receive that job offer, where do you go from there? How do you do it? So we do, as I said, the CDC is completely centralized around our students and helping them get to the next area. One of the best things that CDC has developed is their TargetLink job matching system. So basically what it is, you upload your resume into the system, it scans it, and it matches you with any jobs that are open in our areas to say, hey, this looks like a match. Pretty similar to what LinkedIn does. We have it in our internal systems as well. It does help the students understand how to go about a lot of things that people don't really think about until it's last minute. And here are just a few of the areas that we bring these companies on the screen. We do bring these to campus every year. These are just some of the companies that our alumni have went and worked on, which in turn they bring them back to campus every year to our career fairs that we host. We host 4 career fairs a year. For our engineering career fairs, they do on the spot hiring. So we have Sikorsky comes in and hires, give or take, about 50 to 60 students on the spot on that day. So that is a huge day for our students. And as I'm sure most of you are aware, international students are normally in the engineering world. So it is definitely a huge day and busy day on campus for our students when the engineering one comes around. But as well as all the rest of them, we do have some amazing companies that come to campus in order to hire our students. This is just a few demographics that you can see here on the screen. I don't really need to go through the numbers, but we are not a huge school. We're not a tiny school. We sit in the middle area. But as you can see, over 21% of our international body is international. We do have over 68,000 alumni network, and we do represent 79 different countries. They are probably the key areas that you guys would use in recruiting international students. We did graduate one of our biggest classes ever last year, so that student, the 7,000, or that student count, 7,662, actually went down. We graduated over 3,000 students. Out of that, 2,200 were international. So we did have a huge graduation class last year for our international students. What do they do on campus? There's a lot. There is a lot to do on campus here for our student body. As you can see, there are over 260 people in our marching band alone, which is ranked in the country. We have different types of health and fitness classes. We have club sports if you were not at the ability to play in our NCAA sports. We have over 150 clubs and organizations altogether. If there is a club or an organization that you want that isn't here, you are more than happy and more than welcome to start that club up. And you just have to go through a few different avenues to do it. Not complicated, not difficult at all, but it's just for us to be able to make sure that we have that club organization or organization on our campus and documented on our campus. But I'm pretty sure if there's a organization that you're looking for or something, we already probably have it, or there's a lot of other students that are interested in that same one, which would be happy to set up that club with you. Living and dining. As I said, we have over 20 housing options on campus, 5 first-year residency halls, 8 on-campus dining rooms, and then we have quite a few different dining options here when it comes to food trucks, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Subway. We're right on one of the busiest streets in West Haven, so we do have access to multiple different dining options, as well as downtown New Haven is a multicultural city, which you will find every type of cuisine you are looking for in downtown New Haven, which our students love because they get a taste of home in certain areas of the city, which does help them a lot sometimes being this far away from home. If you want to buy a meal plan, you can buy a meal plan. You do not have to. If you are in on-campus housing, you do have to have a meal plan. And we do have an area designated specifically for our international student life. This office was created a few years ago for our international student body, specifically just because we have such a high population of international students here on campus that do have different needs and wants from our domestic students. So this area was created specifically for our international students and to make sure their voices are heard just as loud as our domestic student body. We do an event on campus every year called iFest. It is the biggest and most attended event on campus, both international and domestic. It is where every student gets to represent their country and have a table from their country. They get to do a showcase, whether they want to do a showcase based off of traditional dancing. We'll have students do singing, modeling, whatever it may be. They do it, whatever it is in their culture, they get to bring in their food. So it is a great day for our students and to show how proud they are of where they are from, but also to show the rest of the campus the different areas in the world that they may not have even known about or food they've never even heard of before. And that is it for me when it comes to my presentation. This is just a few pictures actually from iFest of our students. They all dress in their home attire and just have an amazing day being them and showing off what they do and love. But Shruti, I will pass it back over to you if you want, or we can go straight to Q&A, whichever one you want to do.
Yeah, we can go straight to Q&A. I think there are a couple of questions in the Q&A section. I'll let someone and you pick them up.
Yeah, for sure. So the first question is, does the merit-based scholarship apply to transfer students?
Yes, it does. So transfer students are reviewed the exact same way as our new first-time students.
Fantastic. And then can you just give a refresher in terms of the process for applying for scholarships for undergrad and grad?
There is no process. Once you submit the application, that's it. As long as you're accepted, you will automatically be reviewed. There is no separate process. There is nothing you have to do along the way. Basically, if you are accepted to University of New Haven, you will be reviewed for a scholarship automatically.
Fantastic. All right, and we have another question. Can students receive a conditional offer letter without an English certificate or if they do not yet meet the English requirements?
So this is a great question. It really depends on the area of the world. I don't know how long some of you have been doing international recruitment, but South Asian countries, they're not getting a visa if they do not have the English. So we did learn that quite a while ago. Southeast Asia, Europe, and different areas in the world, they do have more success when it comes to getting visas for conditional admit. So as a university, we do offer conditional admit to our international students, but we are very much aware of where the student is coming from. So the students from India, Nepal, Pakistan, Bangladesh, their visa success rate in getting a visa or getting one without having English is very low in comparison to other areas of the world. But to answer your question plainly, yes, we do offer conditional admit.
Gotcha, gotcha. Thanks for that. And then can you just talk about turnaround times for undergrad and grad applications?
Yeah, so we do try and do it as much as we can. Undergrad, we do it relatively quickly. It's normally done within a 7-day period. Grad does take a tiny bit longer because grad is goes out to a whole committee review. So that does take a little bit longer. And as I said, in high volume periods, it does take normally 7 to 10 days. We try and put as much as we can on the faculty, but the reality is if they're in the middle of midterms, then it is going to take a tiny bit longer for them to review that application. And we do want to be conscious of that as well. But we do try and turn it around between 7 to 10 days for both of them at a
Fantastic.
max.
Thank you. And then are first year students required to stay on campus?
No, they are not. I
Fantastic.
will say, as a mom and as an international student, if you are sending a freshman over here, definitely know and definitely speak to the parents about where they're living, what they're doing. Just it is, I think I came here as a 19-year-old, so I do definitely say that's a conversation with the parents and making sure that they understand where their child is going and how comfortable they are with the student going there. But they're not required to stay on campus.
Gotcha. And then, yeah, Selena, just based off your experience in terms of student profiles that you're looking for, and we have a little bit more specific in terms of students from Nepal, if you are looking at different criteria based on countries for students.
We don't actually look at different criteria based off of countries. We do see a lot of students from specific countries. That's just natural. From as a South Asia specifically, we do have quite a high population of students. So for Nepal specifically, they're normally a very high caliber student actually, our students from Nepal. They normally come in between the 3.1 to the 3.4 GPA conversion. Their English is normally amazing. But we don't have a generic profile. We do tell students, or we do tell our recruiters to really look at the student as a whole and depending on the course that they're coming into. So our college of business, for a quick example, our college of business, if you have a 2.5 and higher GPA, that profile would be reviewed here. For engineering, if you have below a 3.0, you're definitely going to struggle a little bit getting into it, right? So it's a different way of looking at the profiles of what the student is looking to do when they're here. Coming to engineering here is very different to engineering in most students' home countries. So we do make sure that they have a high or GPA coming out of high school, or if they are a transfer student, that they're keeping that consistent as well. But as long as they meet the English requirements and as long as they have between, I normally say 2.8 and higher for most of our programs, they will be successful here.
Fantastic. And then can you just talk a little bit about the average tuition for undergrad and grad and what are the average living costs?
Yeah, so we do on our I-20 for the living costs first. We do say it's between 18 and 20,000. We say that for the reason being international, so they're prepared. Obviously, the cost of living in the United States is very different to cost of living in most countries, but we do make sure we say between 18 to 20,000 a year for students. The 20,000 is what it does cost actually for living on campus for undergraduate students. I will tell you, we have a very low population of international students living on campus. They normally live within the community right around us, which is very accessible and very student orientated. We do have all of our graduate students. We do not have any international graduate students that live on campus. So you can live cheaper than that. But for the purpose of the I-20, we do say 18 to 20,000. Our students on average probably pay between 10 and 13,000 a year realistically, and that is normally with room sharing and obviously house sharing. We do have the luxury on the street right by where we live, have so many different supermarkets that we have the Indian market, we have the Middle Eastern market, we have so many international markets on our street where students go grocery shopping, which keeps their cost of living down as well, and they cook every day for themselves. So you can live on average between 10 and 13,000, but for the I-20 purposes, we do say between 18 and 20,000.
Fantastic. Thanks for answering that. And then there was another question. So for everyone, I put the New Haven's page on the Apply Board platform in the chat. And so feel free to go on the page to review the courses that are available for your students. And can you, just with some of the time that we have left, we still have a couple more questions, is just in terms of the scholarship criteria, can you talk about what goes into that?
Into it. Yeah, sure. So it is not grade only. It obviously your grades play a big factor in it. Definitely, the GPA conversion from whatever country the student is from to the US format is a crucial and a huge factor in the rubric. But we do look at the student's background. So that's why we tell the student when you're writing your essay, don't ChatGPT it, please, and make sure you talk to your students about that. We know, and it does actually reduce the indicator on the rubric if it is ChatGPT. We want to know who the student is. We want to know a little bit about the student before they come here. And the faculty really do put a huge emphasis on the statement of purpose and why this program helps them, why they want to come here, and why the university is the right place for them. That plays a bigger role than most, and specifically, obviously, since ChatGPT has become people's best friend. It is, unfortunately, it does ding the students a tiny little bit. So I would say please encourage your students not to use ChatGPT for their essays. I know it's hard. I think we see it on a daily basis, but the more genuine the student is when it comes to that application and the more personal that essay is, that plays a big role. Obviously, if they have test scores, if they do not have test scores, it does not affect them negatively. So if a student comes from an English speaking country, that doesn't mean they'll get a less scholarship from a student that comes from a non-English speaking country that has submitted test scores. So we look at every bit of it when it comes in. Obviously, a GPA of above a 3.0 is normally the minimum cutoff that we do have for students in order to get scholarship. Undergraduate transfer students, they do start at $22,000 scholarships. So for the undergraduate transfer students, we do see a little bit higher because they already have a bachelor's or some bachelor's courses coming into it. For the undergraduate new first time students, as you've seen on the screen, it went from 10 to 30,000. That is done very quickly based off of their test scores, GPA, their letter of recommendation, how genuine their essay is, and it all goes into a rubric and spits out the value, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Perfect. And then do the graduate scholarships apply to PhD programs or masters?
Yes. Most of our PhD programs have external funding, but yes, they can apply to the PhD programs.
Fantastic. And then is the GRE or GMAT required for any programs?
The GRE is required for our forensic science program only, and our Masters of Forensic Science program only, obviously. But no,
Fantastic.
other programs, that's the only one it's required for.
And then we were talking about English. Are there any countries where the English requirement is waived?
The English requirement is waived in every country where English is the main language. So we do not waive it because a student studied in a medium instruction of English. Unfortunately, if you went to a Cambridge school, an IB school, we do take a look at it and see if we can waive the English based off of the curriculum. But if the school is, or if you just went to, we'll say in India, right, and you went to just a school that has medium instruction in English, we do not waive it for that.
Fantastic. All right. And I know we're at time, so we'll wrap with this last question over here. There's a question about kind of post-study visa. So can you talk about how and if New Haven helps with OPT?
Yes, we do. So the OPT application, we do multiple webinars for the OPT application throughout the year for students. You have the students that are amazing and have everything prepared 6 months in advance. You have the students that are typical students that have nothing prepared and the application is due tomorrow. So we do everything we possibly can to make sure our students understand what the OPT is, the OPT process. And a lot of what we have found throughout the years is students do not understand what they're responsible for versus what the university is responsible for when it comes to the OPT process. So we do everything we possibly can throughout their time as a student here to give them the platform for them to come and learn about OPT, learn about CPT before the OPT, just so they understand you're responsible for this. The university is not going to send in your OPT application. This is what you have to do as a student to keep your status active. So we do everything we possibly can to educate them on applying for the OPT, what they're required to do after they get the OPT, their EAD card, and that job offer. So we do definitely do as much as we can to educate them and do it. When it comes to getting a job, unfortunately, we do not, and no school is. So if there's a school out there that tells you that they place students, they do not. There's not many schools, there's not actually any schools in the United States right now that are able to place international students and guarantee place. It is definitely something that we work through our CDC department for, which is one of the slides I showed you earlier. We do have a manufacturing area here on campus now too that we just built, who he works with all of our engineering companies around the East Coast to make sure that we are known in areas so that our students have ease of meeting and networking. But we do everything we can to help after graduation when it comes to a job. From between letters of recommendation, resume prep, mock interviews, we continue to do that after you graduate as well, just to make sure that you are ready, but we cannot place you in a job, unfortunately.
Fantastic. That's great that you all are able to offer that level of support to students, and just being conscious of time. I think we will stop there. A big thanks to Selena for joining us today. And thank you all for also joining us. Shirsti, are there any other final words from your end in terms of after pieces? I know the session will be recorded and folks will have a copy of that. Anything else?
No, you've covered it. Just that wait a day or two, folks. We will send out an official email with the recording and the deck. Yeah, and that's it. And if you have any further questions, I believe Deepak has shared his and Huyen's number in the chat. Feel free to reach out to them and they can help you through the application process or any other questions that you may have specifically from the Apply Board side of things. So thank you so much. And thank you, Selena. Thank you, Sawan. And see you guys soon.
Yes, thank you all for joining
Everyone.
today. And again, as you can reach out as well if you guys need anything to me.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, everyone.